Last class we got what is management, what is process. Management is all about conversion of. Talked about water resources. They're basically called as M's of. Include men, material, men. Then what is process? Conversion of to output. That process we call it as even transformation. Conversion from one form to the other form. See, there we talked about various steps or elements involved in management: forecasting, planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, directing, controlling, and decision. Then after that we talked about what is required for conversion: smartness and cash. I think by and large those were the concepts. And very importantly, we discussed about environment. Environment is nothing but the surrounding of a business. We call it as business environment, which is broadly categorized into internal, external. Internal environment basically is an immediate periphery of, means immediate surrounding of your business. Yes, internal environment. What are the elements of internal environments? Customer, competitors, suppliers, distributors, wholesalers, company policy. If there is any problem with these elements, it will impact only your business, the concerned business, specific business. So the area of focus would be confined only to smaller segment. So we use a term called micro environment or specific environment also. External environment is a general environment which will hamper every business including your business. So what are the elements of it? Heat or pestle. Either of the word you remember. Pestle. Political, economical, social, technological, legal, ecological. All these are called as pestle factors. Okay. So I think today we'll kickstart with the concept. First of all, how this concept of strategic management actually started. I'll just tell you a small story of it. Actually, it so happened initially, the factors which contributes for your GDP, something beyond this subject. What do you mean by GDP, students? Gross product. So any country's GDP, there are certain contributors to it, right? There are three main contributors. We categorize them as macro factors. What are they? Any guesses? Initially, it was agricultural sector. Three sectors contribute: manufacturing, the other was services sector. Initially, when there was no industries, the service concept wasn't there. 3% of your GDP contribution from agriculture. Slowly, what has happened? The concept of population and industries also came up. 1880s, industrial revolution, how we say, industrial revolution era. There, number of industries came up. Just to match the supply and demand, new industries came up, and people also felt, to have a regular source of income. They also thought, apart from agriculture, we should have a regular income. So why not we pick up a job in industry? Only what has happened? The concept of demand for products increased. So companies came up. People showed interest to have a regular income and product everywhere. The concept of industries also started. Industrial revolution era picked up. So people started thinning down the agricultural operation because they need space for construction of factories. And when they are not doing, see, they have to earn. So they started working in the factories. So that's how the concept of industrial revolution era came into it. Okay. Then it so happened, students, competition increased. Then, like you have more of industries. Everybody wants to have. Maybe I'll tell you one word. If you couldn't remember, it's okay. But otherwise, don't worry. There is something called as differentiation. This word is technical definition. You need to remember. Differentiation means how you are different from your competitor. Differentiation. In a simple word, it is called as what attribute? Unique attribute. You go to Koti. Here you find same dress in every shop. same brand, same cloth, because that fellow gets in bulk and he sells to all these shop fellows. So then, if at all if you are planning to buy a dress, the first question you'll ask the shopkeeper, you are invited, everyone will invite. You'll ask him, why should I buy only from your shop? Isn't it? Then that fellow should tell you the differentiation factor. I'm giving you an extra discount. Or maybe I have more number of varieties. That quality should be unique again. You are giving 10% discount, the other fellow is also giving 10% discount. Then what will happen? Then the option would be either you buy from this shop or that shop. So the concept of differentiation, when we say in business, it's a factor of being unique. Okay, this also is a bit tough. You can even call it as benefit driver. What do you mean by benefit driver, student? This is an advantage what you only have and which is making you to drive away all the other competitors and stand in the competition. And all these efforts, whatever you are trying to do, maybe this word you remember, students, building up of competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? The advantage of what you have over your competitor. Okay. So remember these terms again and again I'll be using. Okay. So when competition increased in business, people thought, how should we create the concept of competitive advantage? By creating a differentiation. Just then they thought services is best element. Where the services are improved, the customer will get satisfied. Slowly the concept of services demand came into existence. So it so happened today, there are 3 countries which, like mad dogs, they fight. Of course, US number 1, India and China. They're tough competitors in terms of service. So these are the 3 top players in the world which compete for their position. And today, let me tell you, more than 60% of our GDP contribution today is from services sector. A country like India, where initially our culture was agriculture, 80% of our revenue we used to get from agriculture, then became industries, industrial like manufacturing sector. Today, more than 60% of our GDP contribution today we get from services. Okay. Anyways, why am I telling you all this story? There's a logic here. Whenever you are transitioning from agricultural to manufacturer to service sector, the concept of focus should be different. You should make your managers ready to face any sort of challenge. Let me tell you, students, there is one concept called change. Maybe in my course of lecture I'll explain it, but as of now, what do you mean by change, students? How do you define change? A new form of behavior is called as change. What is change? A new form of behavior is called as change. Change can be of 2 types: internal change, external change. Can you tell me what is internal change? Changes which happens within the company. Like yesterday I was telling you, environment is of 2 types: internal, external. Change also you can classify into 2 types: internal change, external change. Internal changes which happens within the company. Can you give an example for this? Machinery changes, policy changes, person changes. All these are the changes which will hamper or impact only, good or bad, it will impact only your business. Can we call it as micro here also? Yes. Whereas there are certain changes which will create impact to everyone, general. Like yesterday we said macro environment, here also we can use the word macro, or we can say general changes also. Here also we can use that word pestle. These are all the best examples of external changes. Change, the change which happens outside and which will impact everyone, including the environment. So we say external environmental changes. Understood? Okay. What is required? When you were quite young, in biology classes, Charles Darwin, have you heard about this guy? He said, survival for the fittest. No? What does it mean, students? What does it mean, survival for the fittest? The fellow who is strong enough will only survive. So only Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan would have survived, not all others, right? No, today it's not survival for the fittest, survival for the fastest. Means those who are fast enough in terms of changing. Means what do you do as a manager today? You have to run along with the change. Means you should change according to the change. The change has a beautiful option. Whatever changes, change means new form of behavior. First it will try to communicate the change to you. Means okay, this is old system, this is new system, you need to change karke, it will tell you, it will communicate. Next it will convince you, because it will show you the gap. If you don't change, this is old benefit and this is a new benefit. It will try to convince you. If you are not convincing, it will corrupt you. Means you become outdated, you will miss out the race. So what is required? If you want to live, survive, in the sense businessman, then you need to run along with the change. So why am I telling about this change management is, now you will understand. It was in the late year 1911, where Harvard Business University, some of you might have heard about it. So in Harvard Business School, they thought we should create a subject. That subject should be nomenclated as business policy. What do you mean by policy? Broad guidelines. Broad guidelines for running the business successfully. This definition is, that's the reason I am harping much on it. Try to understand. You can mug up later, but let me tell you, what is this concept of business policy as a subject? Business policy was actually a broad guidelines to create awareness about general management capability. So it talks about functions, responsibilities of whom? Senior management, that is the strategist or the manager. Because organization face with crucial problems, there are crucial problems that will affect the success of the total enterprise. So and the decisions that determine the directions of organization to shape its future. In a nutshell, they wanted to create certain broad guidelines to manage the business successfully now and its success in the future also. Because organization will be sandwiched with many problems. You should know, if a problem comes in, how should I tackle, how should I handle, and how should I make that existence for today and tomorrow. That was the curriculum or a subject of business. So students, it so happened, they introduced this course. They wanted everyone who is running the business to learn this course, because that is making them to run the business successfully, right? So the story went on. Soon after this, World War came into play. World War II. At that time, a word called strategy emerged. Actually, there's a Greek word called strategy, which means generalship. Generalship is something, perception of enemy, right? Defeating the war, enemies. So, the concept of defeating the enemy is something like similar scenario you will find even in the business. Here the enemies are your competitors. So the concept, they felt, yes, in a business terminology also we can use this term. That is how soon after World War, the concept of business policy transformed itself into a subject called strategic management. Okay, in a nutshell, this is a small story how the business policy as a subject has transformed itself into a subject of strategy. For us, it was just an introduction, but definition of business policy, right? Then, very important thing, what is the definition of strategy? I'll tell you many versions. Here there is again very interesting thing. While we configure, I'll take one session on the examination pattern and how the questions can be asked, how you can guess the questions, all that. Maybe it is too early now. Even they wanted to include other students also. I'll just take one session there. I'll tell you. As of now, when we are configuring the questions, friends, have you seen some of them who has made an attempt? Can you tell me what are the broad? Okay, strategic management. Let us not discuss about it. Strategic management part. Can you tell me what is the structure? Max? You'll be given two sets of booklets, right? One for FM, one for strategic management. First of all, forget about subject, forget about your writing. Take the appropriate booklet. That's a mess. You write one subject in one, the other subject in other. Because the problem is the evaluations, corrections, distribution, packing, everything is separate. So if they say A you write in FM, B you write in strategic management, they reverse it. That's again a mess. Your results will be withheld. They will evaluate, but results will be held for some time. Yeah. Can anyone tell me the structure? Not gone through it? Okay, let us not. I'll catch up. Otherwise, we'll deviate and land into some other bus. Next session, maybe next week we'll have one session. Broad guidelines will. So the point which I wanted you to notice, when we are configuring the questions for long, you cannot expect only one topic. Configuration of it could be 2 plus 3 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 5. The concept of configuration, suppose if it is 7 marks question, 7 can become 4 plus 3 also 7, 3 plus 4 also is 7. So 1 plus 2 plus like that all the configuration can make to 7. So generally what happens is, the word strategy, basically they'll ask about definition. What is a strategy? So first, one definition amongst so many definitions you need to learn. Which one you need to learn also, I'll tell you. First of all, the basic understanding for us, what is a strategy? It's a trick to succeed in some purpose. It's a formula to succeed in some job, some task, or you can simply say it's a skill for managing affairs, right? So any of these words for your easy understanding you can use. Then there's a person called William Gluick said it's an unified, comprehensive, integrated plan. Friends, what does this unified mean? Unified means one. Comprehensive, very detailed information. Integrated, combined plans. Remember, these words again are very, very important for us. When I'm talking about characteristics, if you learn this definition, by complementary, you can skip that topic of characteristics there. All the same words get repeated. Some of these people, apart from these three words, they say it is a comprehensive master plan. Somebody says it's a blueprint. Blueprint also is before constructing of this building, they would have made a small miniature, or they would have done some drawing on the paper. We call it as blueprint. What is a blueprint looks like? It's a complete structure on paper which talks about where the staircase should be, where the gate is, where the window is, everything. Why do you draw a blueprint beforehand? Because if at all you know about your resources, you know about your evaluation, how the building will look like, how the shape of the building would be, how much of resources, how much of space you get. Because any changes if you want to make, if you make it a blueprint level, you will save a lot of time, you will save a lot of cost. It's not that after constructing all these 5 floors, you will say, no, I didn't like this second floor, let me demolish. It will not happen, right? Similarly, what they do, first they put something on paper, miniature. Then they go ahead with miniature. Means miniature is nothing but a model, a prototype. Means a building of similar kind. Most of these cases you would have seen civil engineers. They make a building, a small replica of this building like a miniature, just to show you how it looks like. And after that they construct. Most of these massive constructions, your railway projects or metro projects, you see, large scales, they go ahead with prototype models. Models are small miniature images. So, unified, comprehensive, integrated plan designed to assure the basic objectives of enterprise are achieved. And there's one more definition which says strategy is a long range blueprint. Just now I said it's a long range blueprint. Organizational desired image. Desired is what? Imagination of what you want your company to be. Directions and destinations of what it wants to be, what it wants to do, and where it wants to go. And simply you can say strategy is a master plan which will tell your company to achieve its mission and objectives. Or there's one more way. Strategy basically increases your what advantage? Competitive advantage. and will reduce your competitive. Why am I putting all these words in your brain is in the next topic I'll tell you. Just look at it now. What are the characteristics of a strategy? It helps in decision making. It is concerned with long-term directions of an company. They are action oriented. They are specific. They are integrated plans, means integrated activity. Strategy can be dynamic, flexible. What does it mean? Strategy change according to they should cope with complex and competitive setting. They are related to goal. And who makes the strategy? Top level. Top level with the help of the other two levels. What are the other two levels of management? Middle level and lower level. Tactical and operation. Okay. Like they help you to achieve some advantage. That is what we call it as competitive advantage. So you can just simplify this sentence by calling it as building up of competitive advantage. And they are concerned with scope of organizational activity. They help in matching the resources, activities to the environment. They create opportunities. The concept of change management. They are trying to affect your operational decisions. And very importantly, it's not only affected by environmental forces and resources, but also there is something called as value system and expectations. Expectations, I told you. Value system at the flag end of the unit we'll talk about. There's again a concept on value. So as of now, value orientation is increasing in business. Value means what? Increasing of happiness. Okay. Now a question may arise. Sir, there are so many words, no? How do we remember? Don't worry, I am scaring you by giving many. But there is a sense that why I'll tell you. Some 10 points, at least you'll remember. 4 you will recall. My requirement is 4. But why are we trying with 10? At least 10 stones mein 4 will go and directly hit. And when you are learning this, unified, comprehensive, integrated, long range blueprint, flexible, maximizing competitive advantage, disadvantage, by default the words will come. You need not to search. And what happens if you don't remember all this? What will happen? You will end up writing general answers where you don't get marks. Even if you don't elaborate, these technical terms straight away they give you. Okay. That's how the terminology usage to it you need to understand. Okay, students. Remaining portion, actually, I'll just customize it. Today I think he has put a wrong slide. I'll give you a precise material. Don't worry. As of now, try to understand. I'll give you a precise one. I asked him to put, actually he has put the CMA material. Anyways, don't worry. See, when we are talking about the features of strategy, how this concept of strategy will help us? Strategy will help us to foresee the uncertain events. First of all, what is the difference between certainty, uncertainty, certain, uncertain, and risk? What are these three? Students, these are 3 conditions for your decision. What are these? There are 3 conditions for decision as a manager. Suppose you know about everything. What is input, how it is getting processed, what are the outputs and all. It means that there is a full control of manager on everything. We call what situation? Situation of certainty. You know everything. You know what to learn, how to learn, and what will you produce. Everything is known. When everything is known, you have a full control. Situation of certainty. Quite opposite to it. You don't know what will happen the next moment. Whenever you have that scenario, we call it as uncertainty. You don't know what will happen, how it will happen. Uncertainty. Quite opposite to it. And middle road, mid of these two, where most of the time it goes ahead with guess. May happen, may not happen. probability. We call it as a risk. Understood? So strategic management as a subject will see what event? Uncertain event. Everything is known. You make a programmed strategy. When the things are unknown, that is where your unprogrammed strategy comes into the picture. In decision making, I'll tell you further as and when the concept comes in. It deals with long-term development rather than routine development. And whenever you are making a strategy, remember in strategic management also, I'll tell you, most of the time that sentence is harped again and again. Sometimes we give it as a quote also. Strategy, when we say, is long-term based rather than short-term based. It is proactive rather than reactive. No, it is both. It is both. Because strategy, again there are different types of strategies we make. Single use strategy, use and throw. Once the purpose is met, you will not use it again. That is one type of strategy. But a strategy which comes on routinous mechanistic basis, the strategies can be adapted again and again with little modifications and upgradations. A best example, remembering a formula for the exam. After you pass that exam, that formula, relevance of that will end up there. Studying for exam strategy, generalized strategy. Till you complete your course, you need to study, right? The techniques adapted may have certain modifications. Somewhere theory subjects to just mug up and write the side headings, revise. If it is a problem, again you solve certain illustrations to become perfect. So that's how the strategy with little modifications goes on. One point you should remember, when we are talking about strategy in the business policy, I said it not only talks about present survival, but it even talks about future survival of the business also. So company will be sandwiched with the problems which will pester now, the problems which will come tomorrow. It is surrounded by so many problems. So you need to make a strategy not only for the present survival, but the survival of the company. So it manages 3 C's: customer, change, competition, and strategy is called as a blueprint. Friends, I think recent attempt we have given this. What is strategy? Levels of. Before to it, most of these guys wrote a mistake. Where you have done a mistake, that also I'll tell you. First of all, just for a deviation, I'll ask you a very simple question. What are the levels of management? Levels of management. 3 levels of management. You simply say top level, middle level, lower level. The kiddish way of defining. What are these levels of management? Henceforth, the word called not top level, strategic. This you should call it as tactical level. This you should call it as operational or functional level. Got it, students? Henceforth, don't use top, middle. Those are kiddish way of defining it. When we are talking about levels of management, one basic question. Every one of us draw it in the form of a triangle, right? Why? You didn't ask anyone? Yeah? Now you are asking? Yeah. Why? When we talk about management, it is shown in the form of a triangle. Why does it attain? Why can't it be shown in a circle, rectangle, square or some other shape? Why only triangle? Yes. Just because of levels, you can use a word called hierarchies. Technically, instead of levels, hierarchy sounds good. Hierarchy is nothing but level. As he rightly said, how are we getting this shape, students? There's a structure within us called skeletal structure. Similarly, organization also has organogram. Organogram, if it is a tough word, use a word called organizational chart. Organizational chart. What is this organizational chart? as he rightly said, the number of individuals who are working in the organizations at various levels or various hierarchical aspects. For example, at the top, you may have a president, then vice president, managers, assistant managers, team leads. If you draw, it will be like inverted tree. Why inverted tree? Because the branches are downward. The root node is, this is the root, right? And these are all branches. It is like an inverted tree. Normal tree, roots you will have on the ground and branches on the top, but it's inverted tree. Root on the top, branches down. And if I join all these three corners, what shape is getting? Triangle. That is the reason that is a triangle. Okay. Now, remember, levels of management are three. What are they? Strategic, tactical, operation. Okay, one more question before I start with strategic levels. What is the nature of job of these guys that does it teach? What do strategic fellows do? What do tactical do? What is operational? Strategic first. Simply sitting, monthly getting. What do they do then? What do the top level guys do? They make plans, scissors, strategies required for your company, right? So our main job today in strategic management, tomorrow when you become a realm of affairs, you become a chartered accountant, what is you are figuring it out at the strategic level, because you are the one who will craft, who will design a strategy for running the business. And let me tell you students, whether the company becomes a bankrupt or whether he becomes successful, you are the one who is culprit. So your strategy deciding why are we teaching you this subject today, starting from good to bad, starting from frauds to success. You are the one who are a creator, destroyer, whatever you call. Simply we call you as strategist. That's it. Strategist. That is the reason why do we text, because as a CA you should know everything. It's something like you go to a doctor. Just by looking your face, can I write a prescription? No, the patient will die. So first of all, you need to have an analysis, a systematic analysis. Okay. So first of all, I should ask you basic questions. Like you go to a doctor, first of all, he'll ask you general questions. How is your diet? How is your sleep pattern? A general question to all of you. Then based on the answers what you give, slowly he'll identify the problematic area. He'll customize the questions from there onwards, and finally he'll say section. That is the process of normal diagnosis. Let me tell you, very interesting. Why do our strategies fail? Because the first step of strategic management you don't do. What is the first step? Analysis. Analysis we don't do. What if analysis is not done properly? Two scenarios I'll tell you. First scenario, you have some illness, you have gone to a doctor. Scenario 1, he'll ask you general questions like what I said. After knowing the problem, he'll write a prescription and first stage is done. Second step, case number 2, as soon as the patient comes in, you give an injection to him. He'll collapse. Why? There's no proper analysis. In the strategy also, why strategies fail? Because we tried jump to the conclusion without looking at the problem. Here also, why did I use this example? Levels of management, levels of strategy. Levels of management we never ask, because that's a hideous answer. What are the 3 levels of strategy? Again, there are 3 levels, which is again shown in the form of a triangle. That is where the students mix up both. The first level, call it as corporate level strategy. Second, we call it as SBU or business unit strategy. SBU is strategic business or business unit strategy. Third one is called as functional. How many of you have heard about ITC? You've heard about ITC? ITC group to many businesses, right? They have many businesses in their portfolio. Can you tell me a few of them if you know? They make cigarettes, right? Stationery, we say paper, okay? Paper and stationery, ITC Bhadrachalam. And soaps also, FMCG. Okay, hotels, you not heard about ITC? Yes, etc. etc. They are into many business. Let us pick up this. Assume that you are a owner of this company, only for example, right? Okay. Now, you are supposed to make a strategy to run this business. There are certain strategies which you need to adapt at a group level at the top level, right? As a ITC group, all other businesses are like the children who are under the umbrella of ITC. So there should be some general strategy covering all businesses. That strategy I call it as corporate level strategy. What is corporate level strategy now? The general strategy which considers every business unit, not other businesses, only ITC only. Here it is considering all the businesses which are under its preview. So corporate level strategy. What is SBU strategy? Business unit strategy. Each of these businesses, here you see cigarettes, it's a business, paper is the other business, FMCG products is the other business, hotel is the other business. Here we call them as business unit strategies or SBU level strategies. Now, when we go to the next level is functional strategy. Each of this business again may be performing your functional strategies of HR, marketing, finance, production, HR, marketing, finance, production, etc. etc. What are those strategies? Functional strategies. The functional strategies here help to make cigarettes. The functional strategies here will make me to make paper, stationery. Of course, HR activities, recruitment, selection, marketing is selling and all. But again, business by business, the activities are differing. Otherwise, we would have had only one department, marketing. Do we have only one department? No. Why? There are certain products which are consumable, non-consumable, durable, non-durable. There are lot many classifications and categories. There are certain services also. Each one require different orientation, different production, different accounting. That is the reason each of this SBU again has their own functional. So what are the three levels of strategies now? Corporate level, SBU level or business unit, whichever you want to call, functional level. This is the basic thing, but all if you write these three levels, straight away it will give you 1 mark. But what he'll ask you is, this topic again I'll be asking in the next topic. Listen carefully. Now let us go into the micro details. This diagram will explain the complete concept. Then I'll tell you how to write the answer also in it. You are at the top level now, group level, corporate level. What sort of options or alternatives do you have for your group? Means that I said you are a owner of ITC company now. If at all, if you want to make certain strategy, what would be your different types of options available to make it corporate level? There are only four strategic alternatives. 4 different types of strategic alternatives. What are they? Have lot of profits from all different businesses, right? You have a lot of backup. Then what would be your option? What will you do with that money? Out for expanding the scope of it. You'll get into some other business again. Where you see the empire of Adani, some empire of Ambani's. They have gone into every segment. You name power, you name whatever you name, they are into that, right? Apart from telecommunication. So we are trying to grow our dynasty. What is that option we say? Either we can call it as growth, or we can say expansion. So what is the first word, students? Growth or expansion is one option available. What would be the other option? The scenario is opposite. One of my business, let us say these days people are not using paper or people are not smoking. It is getting me a lot of losses from that business. Demand is declining day by day. Then what should I do? I should reduce the scope of the business. Either I can close it completely, or slowly I can kill it by stopping the investment in that area. Reducing the scope. We use a word called retrench or downsizing. What do you mean by this word downsizing? Down means reducing. Size, reduction of a size. Reduction of a size is not compressing. It is about reducing the scope of business operation. Call it as retrench. Okay. Somewhere you are talking about expansion. When do you expand? Again, there are certain conditions for expansion. This by itself I teach you in one of the class. When will you expand a business? Can you tell me the reasons? As an ITC group, when would you love to open up a new wing, new business, new product? What situations will call for you to start a new business, new product, get into new business area? Less competition, more revenues or more profits, lot of potentiality, growth potentiality for the product or business. Less investment, more returns, right? All these are the conditions. Or you have a skilled manpower, you are using latest technology. You can create cost leadership. Means know what is cost leadership. Again, in generic strategies I will talk. This word is important again. Cost leadership. What does it mean? Let us say I have this mobile. There are many brands which are available in the market. So for this particular model, let us say there are about 100 brands, 100 companies which 100 brands or companies which manufacture this mobile with same specification. Whomsoever make, let us assume that 10,000 is the minimum cost of making. If brand 1 make, 2 make, 100 make, whatever they make, minimum 10,000. Then your company plans to make it less than 10,000. How can they make? They are using some other technology, or they are reducing the cost of production by automating or something. And if you are able to manage it to produce less than the cost of minimum production, means you have become a master in producing in less cost. It's not about reducing price, students, don't get confused. It is all about how you are becoming master in managing in less cost. Use a word called cost leadership. Cost leadership is what now? Can you define in your own style? Managing or producing in less cost. Not about reducing cost, right? Managing or producing in less cost. Cost leadership. Don't worry, I'll again repeat this concept. So one of the option was expansion, growth. You can use any of this word, downsizing or retrenchment. Third one, I don't want to take a risk of expanding, nor I wanted to close down. Whatever I have, let me focus only on that. Nor more, nor less. Whatever I have, I should be, like before exams you say, no? In front of the hall you find a lot of students mugging up, studying, asking, troubling others also. Did you study this topic? Did you study that topic? So what will you say? The last moment I don't want to learn anything new, nor I'll forget the old. Whatever I'm learning, let me be perfect in it. What does it mean? Stabilizing, stability strategy. What is stability? Stability is, okay, here this word is important, remember. Stability strategy focuses on, write down, stability strategy focuses on improving or increasing operational efficiency. Operational efficiency. What does it mean, students? nor I am expanding, nor I am downsizing. Whatever I am doing, I'll be perfect at stability. Last one is combinational. Combinational, if you are not comfortable, you can use a word called hybrid. Hybrid is what? Two or more features. Some portion you will expand, some portion you will cut down, some portion you will stabilize. Two or more features, if you are involving in one, we call it as hybrid strategy. Now, just see how I have defined it. What is a corporate strategy? It describes the overall directions in terms of its general attitude. When we were talking about ITC group, we are talking in general about all the SBUs towards the growth and management of its various businesses or product lines. It typically fit into four main categories as mentioned above. What are they? Expansion, retrenchment, stability, hybrid or combinational. See, these decisions include investment in diversification, vertical integration, acquisition, new ventures, allocation of resources between various functional, etc., etc. All these are the various examples what you can quote for corporate strategy. So here it is very simple, students. When we give this concept, what do we test? Whether the fellow has written general environment or overall word, we give them straight away half mark. Then it typically fits in four main categories. Has he mentioned that four? Okay, hello, another 2 marks. 2 plus 1, 3 marks. Whatever blah blah story you write, the technical words are there, we give mark, otherwise we don't. When I have written corporate strategy word, all 3 side readings are given, they give only like very important thing, remember students, not only for my subject, every subject. Some of them would have told, read only side headings for theory. No, side headings will never fetch you marks. Remember, one interesting thing I'll tell you here. For all subjects, most of the theory, when you are mugging up side headings, remember, 1 to 2 side headings, we give half mark. Only side headings you have written, you get only half mark. You have written 3 to 4, 1 mark. So by default, 4 side headings ka 1 mark. Quarter mark for each of this side heading. Somewhere, most of these long answers the fellow writes only the side headings. Beyond 4 also we give only 1. Then how do we crack for the long questions? Sir, we study only side headings, no? In your own style, even if you are able to elaborate, that will fetch another, which need no justification of grammar, tenses. Because most of the time we talk about tense, you become more tensed, whether it's in future tense, present tense, forget about it. Explain it in your own language. Throw whatever you know, he'll pick up whatever is required, right? So need not to worry about it. But in last attempt I'll just get one of this document maybe next week. Be too early, I don't want to scare you with too many things, but that will help us to prepare what is required. Learn, rehearse, produce, that's it. Reproduce, nothing more than it. I'm telling you students, studying is one portion, attempting to exam is an art. Let's write perfectly, close it, that's it. That art I'll teach you. Okay. Now, the second level is SBU. SBU is what? Business Unit Level Strategy. Business unit levels are different businesses what our company has. Here, what should be the main focus? Because each of these business is different. Cigarettes making is different, paper is different, FMCG is different, hotels are different, everything is different, products are different, processes are different, services, everything is there different. Then what the company should, what ITC group should focus on? They should focus on making of competitive strategies in their own domain. How here there are many fellows who are making cigarettes and ITC is one among them. So they should devise their own strategy to survive in that cigarettes business. Paper. There are many fellows now who make notebooks. Your classmate notebook is an again ITC brand only. He should make strategies to survive in the market and become a brand which everybody should pick up. FMCG, there are many fellows who are selling soaps, hair oils, toothpaste. How ITC should sell more and have its existence? We call them as what strategies? Competitive strategies in their own field. What is the other strategy? Cooperative strategy. Cooperative is how one business is supporting other business, not other businesses, your ITC group only. How hotels are supporting, like let us say FMCG or FMCG is supporting hotels. Cooperative strategy. Have you heard about Maruti Group, students? Initially, before your Maruti, there used to be something called as Padmini cars. Padmini. I don't know whether you have seen it or not. Okay, forget about it. That was a low priced car before your Maruti 800. Maruti thought, why not be a car with a low price? They introduced 800. Good. It came into the slowly they established. Till Tata Nano was launched, those have ruled. Because low price now everyone will buy. The growth history today you can just go back and see. Maruti has grown, Maruti Group has grown. First they thought of manufacturing cars, they did it. Then they wanted to target on increasing the sales. They thought not everybody in India is affordable for cars, no. They thought of opening up one more SB. Gives loans for the people to buy cars. Good. So financing came into play. Then anyhow if she buys a car, she needs servicing. They introduced Maruti servicing centers. So once you buy car, you have to get it repaired. Good. Earlier they used to buy spare parts from outside. They thought, why not we get into spare parts? Okay, that. Then insurance came. Okay, good. That was also good. Now, for buying a car, there is a loan, insurance, spare parts, services. These are all the different divisions now. After using cars, there is a buyback also. True value. Maruti true value. Means your old car also he'll buy. Good, no? If I don't have money also, he's giving me money. And even if somebody doesn't know driving, there is a Maruti driving school also. It will teach you driving. So it will teach you driving, it will give you a loan to buy a car, it will serve you, it will insurance, spare parts, servicing. Even if it becomes old, he'll even buy back. Tomorrow, if this fellow wants to venture into something new business expansion, he'll even have a Radhi shop to buy that, what do you call, old crap also. He'll open up that business also, right? So, see how the concept of business expansion is happening and see the cooperative strategy. How training will aid in increasing the sales, how insurance will help to create a value or a value addition to our business. Happening today, that itself is strengthening the brand, because when the customer wants to want somebody help him out with all these problems. What companies now, they are trying to devise such cooperative strategy, strengthen their brand. Whenever you are trying to buy a bike or car, get spare parts. Are the service centers available? That's what the first question you. These days we have a lot of demand for electronic bikes and cars. First thing, what will you look for? Affordability is not a great deal. And if you don't have money, there are people who will bless us with money, and that's not because their business is that only. Lending money is their business, right? So what will you look for? Do you have spare parts available? Are the service centers? What has been the performance? All that you check, right? So the companies go ahead with cooperative strategy. Help one is the other is. Last one is fun. Each of this, again, they are into functions, right? HR, marketing, finance, and all. There, the first word what I taught you differentiate. How should we be unique in that category? The other is building up of competition, right? So how do I make advantage for my firm? So students, this particular diagram, corporate, stability, growth, retrenchment, hybrid. Second, that is SBU level, competitive and cooperative. Functional, you have differentiation of competitive. Business unit firm will use all these three strategies simultaneously. See here, I did a small differentiation. Your corporate level, SBU level, functional. He can ask a question like this also. How do you differentiate between three levels of strategy? We have used certain dimensions there. First one, type. Conceptual. What do you mean by conceptual? Something which deal with your creativity, innovation. Corporate strategy should be creative and innovative. What is creativity? Something new, something unusual, something which has never existed, something what you are finding for the first time. Creativity. What is innovation? Creativity into action. If you bring that creativity into action is innovation. So conceptuality or conceptual skill talks about creativity and innovation. This word also you remember. Whereas operational strategies, they are helpful for executing the job. So corporate level, conceptual skills, functional level, operational are technical skills also you can. Measurability, the corporate and functional are quite extreme. And of course, SBU will be all mixed or medium, the word would be same. Measurability will be high, medium, low. The making of strategies, frequency. Here it is spontaneity, but there it is periodic. Relation to present activity. Just now I said creativity and innovation, and here it is supplementary. Risk factor, profit potential, cost, flexibility will be high in corporate level and remaining in all will be low. Time horizon, long range, short range. And when we are talking about cooperation required, as he rightly said, number of the individuals at the top would be low. So the cooperation required would be a bit less in number when you compare with if operational, because the span increases, number of fellows increases. So high cooperation is required at functional. Understood? So this is how you can differentiate between them. Students, today I'll just give you a very simple version of strategic management model that will help us to understand the complete concept. Okay? If you ask me what is strategic management, this is important for long question students, listen carefully. Strategic management or complete strategic management can be classified into two parts, can be made into two parts. First part, it deals with making strategy. Second part, it deals with implementing it, implementation. Okay? Making, implementing. These two parts, I'm again further dividing them into two each, means total 4 steps. How the strategic management process should start. This will help for exam, this will help for you to work tomorrow. The first and foremost thing when you are making strategy, what should be the first step? Making. In making, what 2 steps you carry out? First, environmental scanning or environmental monitoring. Environmental, I am writing in short, environmental scanning oblique monitoring, and establishing strategic intent. Establishing strategic intent. Environmental scanning or monitoring and establishing strategic intent. So these 2 words are a bit difficult. Then Can you remember a word called analysis? Analysis is the first step of strategic management. Strategic analysis. Strategic analysis. What is analysis? Knowing, understanding, examining is analysis. What should I know? What should I understand? What should I examine? What do? We look within, internal. We look outside. We look within, we look outside. That process of monitoring the environment, I have used a word called environmental monitoring or environmental scanning. You are like a watchdog. You are seeing what is happening within my company inside and what is happening outside. Environmental monitoring. So how this will be helpful to me? Like in yesterday's class, I was telling you, expectations. Expectations are what? What you want your companies to be. So this will talk about expectations and actuals, and you will have a gap. Either that will be more or less or more. That always lead to problem. Expectations minus actuals will always lead to problem. Because this is what we call it as gap, strategic gap. What is a strategic gap? A gap between your expectations and actuals. A variation or a deviation, whatever word you want to use, you can. Will you increase this gap or you will reduce the gap? You should reduce, compress it. So, closing this gap is your intention, right? Is your aim. We use a word called strategic intent. Strategic intent. What is it? It's a magnet. It's a force field, you can say. Strategic intent is a magnet or a force field which pulls you from the present to future. Write down this word. Strategic intent is a magnet or a force field, which will pull the company from the present to the future. From the present to the future. Okay. You already have you already identified the gap. You want to close this gap now. That is your aim. Then what will you do next? Step number 1, A part is done. Step number B, 1B, formulation. Formulate a strategy. Okay. Formulation again has multiple steps. It will start with vision, mission, goal. I'll show you now. Sequence. Okay. You made first portion of making a strategy. Okay, what next? Implement. So, execute it. Implementation. Execution. Okay. After implementation, what is next? You should evaluate, evaluation, and you should be able to control it. You should be able to control it. Students, this picture should get registered in your mind now. 4 steps. Analysis. If you remember environmental scanning and strategic intent, that will help you better. Then formulate, implement, evaluation, control. And if you're lucky, one long question is done here. What I'll do, I'll take you to the picture now. 1 minute. Is it visible or should I maximize it? Student, just see. Okay, let me start step by step so that it is visible to you. First 2 is making part, second 2 are implementation part. What is the first step? Environmental monitoring or environmental scanning and establishing strategic intent. It has analysis, I said. Two types of analysis we are doing. Internally, what is that you are seeing? We are seeing the structure, we are seeing the culture, and we are seeing our resources. Externally, if you don't know all this, write pestle. Pestle. What are we trying to analyze? The expectations, competencies, and capabilities. Okay. Formulate. Formulation. See, the formulation activity, first it starts with a vision. What is a vision? Foresightedness. What you want your company to be tomorrow is vision. Or what you want to be tomorrow is vision. Simply foresightedness is your vision. What is mission? You have decided where you want to go. Just because you thought, will you go? No. There has to be certain action plan to achieve vision. For example, my company is already 50 crores company. The vision is I want to become 100 crores company by 2025. Then I have decided where I want to go. Then I should see how will I reach that destination. That process we call it as mission. So vision is foresightedness. I have given one line definition also. I'll show you. Yeah. See, foresightedness. Mission is an action plan to achieve vision. The moment you have decided where you want to go and how you will go, next comes up goal. Goal is a purpose. Objectives and goals, they are the purpose of any organization for existence. Yesterday you have written. That becomes strategy. Goals will become strategy here. Strategy is a trick to manage affairs. That strategies will become policies. Policies are what I said, broad guidelines. Guidelines to how to achieve. And all these are the steps of formulation only. Once you make a broad guidelines, next comes up programs. What are programs? They are the activities needed to accomplish a plan. Next, that will become budget. Budget is the cost of the program. Procedure, they are sequence of steps to be carried out. That implementation part is done. The next step is, once the strategy procedures are implemented, you should evaluate and control. You should see whether they are good or bad. You need to evaluate their performance and potential. What is performance? Present contribution. Present, like the actual status. Potential, likelihood contribution. Futuristic performance. Performance is today, potential is for tomorrow. So, the concept of evaluation and control deal with strategic performance and strategic potential. So, here I have written 4 words common for implementation. What does it mean? To have an effective implementation, evaluation and control, there are 4 elements which are essential. Leadership, strategic leadership, structure, organizational culture, and change management. Okay, and complete thing actually is surrounded by something called as feedback, interconnected with all of them. See why? Just now we said strategic management is a dynamic subject, is a flexible subject which should change according to the situation, right? Because here the strategy should be always flexible and should be dynamic. It should not become an outdated thing, right? It should change according to the requirement, right? So strategy is always flexible and dynamic. Maybe I think we'll end up here for today. Next class to come, the topic is not yet completed. I have not started with the definition of strategic management. I should teach you the definition. Intentionally I didn't do, because today I wanted you to come up with the definition. So I'll warm up for furthermore. By default, you should be in a situation to craft a definition of strategic management. So maybe our next session will deal with what is strategic management, what are the objectives of strategic management, And then these elements, some of these elements, we have to understand them in depth. More specifically, the vision and mission. So we'll see how the vision has to be made, what is the role of a vision and mission, some of these concepts we'll learn, right? And actually what happens, students, the syllabus uh, of strategic management, the first unit should talk about introduction, second unit should talk about analysis, third should talk about formulation, fourth it should talk about implementation, evaluation and control. So have you understood now? This should be the actually sequence. It is like whenever you are eating a lunch, you'll start with a soup, starters, main course, desserts, like that you do. This is how the protocol should be. But as I said, it's a mixture, khichdi. Whatever he wants to highlight, only that step he'll explore. Whichever is not required, he'll club everything. Now, if you have study material with you, is anyone carrying? No one? Okay. Don't worry. You have? Just pick it up. Now, if you have, no, don't worry. After going back home, you'll just read out. Open that contents, index page. Can you read out? There are about 5 units, right? Can you read the titles of each unit? Okay, forget about. Slowly. Strategic analysis actually is the first unit. And what this fellow did? Actually, that is only one step. Internal, external is a part of it. So, what is second unit? Strategic analysis. Internal, strategic analysis, external. So he has made one part again into 2 units. Okay, done. Next. Okay, done. Next. Choice. In choice, you see the content. He would have talked about what are the contents you have there. Alternatives. Those are all what level just now you have learnt. Strategic choices are alternatives what they have. Expansion, downsizing, 4 different strategies, right? Next. Next. There only he has added implementation, evaluation, control. So he has mixed up curd rice with dessert and completed the dish. You and me just cannot do anything. Whatever he has mixed up, even if he mix up the main course with soup also, you should drink and close. That's it. You and me are just passing clouds. Take care. So, as far as we are concerned, strategic management, you know the steps. You know what is a soup, what is a dessert, what is a main course and what is karke. Then, here you cannot say that I have learned in this is a systematic way. We cannot dictate the terms to them. We'll be prepared with whatever is required. Our major focus would be, I told you what strategic management is. From here onwards, the journey will customize to your study material. Again, don't ask me, sir, what is this ulta sida? And you and me are just passing clouds. If it is there in the syllabus, you should study. If it is not there, we should not study. That's it. Okay. So, maybe, next class, I don't know about tomorrow's status. Let us see. The next class to come, students, I'll just give you a small activity. No, I know you're all busy, but still 5-10 minutes, it's not more to it. What I wanted you to do is, you might be having certain dream companies. Yes or no? Okay. I'll not even trouble you further. Hindustan Unilever you have heard about. Hindustan Unilever, Dabur, Imami, Himalaya, ITC, Wipro. Like these websites, just browse through. I wanted you to look for 2 things. Vision statement, mission statement. any two companies of your choice, any two companies. What will you do? Very simple, just go to their website, read their vision, read their mission. And what I wanted you to do it is, the 2 lines, 3 lines, whatever you do, like this, I wanted you to do for 5 companies if possible. 5 companies. Just read. That will be not more than 4 lines maximum. I wanted you to list out few words out of it. Like, I'll tell you. I don't know if I have it, I'll show you, otherwise. Yeah, I have it. And don't copy paste this, you do it on your own. Nike. You know what is Nike? Nike shoe, right? Actually, the moment you talk about Nike, athletics should strike your mind. Nike was a brand which was created initially for running, athletes. So, the main, vision for them is to bring the innovation and inspiration to every athlete in the world. Then, okay, Scotland Yard, you forgot about it. Dabur, health. Infosys, technology. Amazon, when we say online buying, you see. So what I wanted you to do it is, here just see, innovation and inspiration for athletes. These 2 technical words. I wanted you to just make out those words. Why am I giving this activity? I'll tell you. Tomorrow, students, once you become a chartered accountant, your major job or one of the job would be to work on such crucial things, where companies are spending lakhs and lakhs, crores and crores of rupees just to make out their vision and mission. Now you may say, what is the greatness about it? Look for some 10 companies and then make it. No, it will be like a ready-made dress. If you buy a ready-made dress, it will not fit into your size. Somewhere it need to be altered, certain modifications. That patchworks no company would love to. They want to make that vision and mission which should be unique, which should be relevant, which should be genuine, which should reflect their actions. So that is where, students, somebody rightly said, your vision and mission statement should not be more than 14 words. So see, whatever they want to make, all top brands today, you see, their vision would be always short. If it is descriptive, half a page, 1 page, assume that they are mess. They are all the fellows rag pickers, they say. They have picked up 1 word from here, 1 word from there, and they made it glory. You should never do that. That should reflect. If I ask you to describe yourself in a word, what will you do? You look for a word which reflects all your personalities, skills. So tomorrow the vision creation, mission creation, would be your task. So this will help us in 2 ways. One, it will generate the interest in the subject. It will help you to understand better. And luckily, if there is a question in the exam, create a vision and mission statement for the following company. He'll give some description about the company. He'll just ask you to create a vision and mission statement. Very interesting thing. You'll still get marks there. And students, these days the institute also has decided that the questions would be more into application side. So it is not about what is a strategy, explain the characteristics of strategy. Of course, those sort of questions also you get, but 50% of it. Rest of the 50% would be, you should understand the concept, digest the concept, reproduce the concept. That is where most of you will flunk. Okay, anyhow, we'll stop here. I think, sorry, I have already crossed 10 minutes more. About the next class, Prasad will update you. And the unit I